Have you ever wondered if you're sleepwalking through life, missing the breathtaking truth of what it means to exist? When Alan Watts dared to confront society's deepest illusions, he uncovered secrets about reality so profound, they'll make your spine tingle. In this video, you'll discover how a rebellious philosopher shattered the myth of separateness, why your relentless pursuit of more leaves you empty, and the startling reason your life, exactly as it is, might already be perfect. But the most electrifying revelation comes at the end. What if the key to existence isn't something to achieve, but a truth so obvious, you've been breathing it this whole time? Miss this, and you risk drifting through days blindfolded, never realizing you're the universe itself, aching to awaken. In a world obsessed with rigid structures, rules, and the relentless pursuit of progress, Alan Watts emerged as a voice of rebellion, a philosopher who dared to question the very foundations of modern existence. Born in England in 1915, Watts was no ordinary thinker. From an early age, he was drawn to the mysteries of life, immersing himself in the teachings of Zen, Buddhism, and Taoism while still a teenager. His unique ability to bridge Eastern spirituality with Western philosophy made him a rare figure, a translator of the profound into the accessible, a guide for those seeking answers beyond the confines of conventional thought. Watts didn't just study Zen, he lived it, embodying its principles in his writings, lectures, and life. His work wasn't about adding more knowledge to the pile, but about stripping away the layers of illusion that keep us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction. Watts was a provocateur, challenging the societal norms that dictate how we should live, work, and think. He saw the modern world as a machine grinding people into conformity, urging them to chase goals that promised fulfillment but delivered only emptiness. His message resonated deeply with the 1960s counterculture, a generation disillusioned by the hollow promises of materialism and war. Through his books and lectures, Watts became a beacon for those yearning to break free from the monotony of a life lived on autopilot. He didn't just critique the system, he offered an alternative, a way of seeing the world that was playful, profound, and deeply liberating. At the heart of his philosophy was a simple yet radical idea. Reality isn't something to be conquered or understood through logic alone. It's a dance, a flowing, ever-changing process in which we are not separate observers but active participants. Watts didn't just crack reality, he invited us to step into it, to stop trying to control the uncontrollable, and instead embrace the beauty of the present moment. His life and work remind us that the answers we seek are not out there in some distant future, but right here, in the way we choose to live, breathe, and be. We live in a world that constantly tells us we are separate from each other, from nature, even from ourselves. We are taught to see life as a linear journey, a race to accumulate achievements, possessions, and status. But what if this perspective is the very thing keeping us from truly experiencing existence? Alan Watts offered a radically different view, one that dissolves the illusion of separateness and invites us into a cosmic dance. He didn't just suggest that we are part of the universe. He declared that we are the universe, experiencing itself in infinite forms. This isn't just poetic language, it's a profound shift in how we understand reality. Watts often used the metaphor of the ocean and its waves to illustrate this idea. A wave may appear separate from the ocean, rising and falling, distinct in its form. But in truth, the wave is the ocean, an expression of its vast, interconnected nature. In the same way, we may feel like isolated individuals, but we are expressions of the same underlying reality. The ego, with its constant need to define and defend itself, creates the illusion of separation, making us believe we are alone in a vast, indifferent universe. But Watts challenged this notion, urging us to see beyond the ego's narrow lens. When we stop identifying solely with our individual selves, something extraordinary happens. The boundaries between me and the world begin to dissolve. We realize that the trees, the stars, the people around us, they are not separate from us but extensions of the same cosmic process. This realization isn't just intellectual, it's visceral, a feeling of deep connection that transcends words. Watts didn't just want us to understand this truth, he wanted us to live it, to feel it in our bones. The cosmic dance isn't something to observe from the sidelines. It's an invitation to step into the flow, to let go of the illusion of control and embrace the beauty of being. In doing so, we discover that the universe isn't out there. It's right here, in every breath, every heartbeat, every moment of existence. Modern life is a paradox. We have more wealth, technology, and convenience than ever before, yet we feel emptier, more anxious, and more disconnected. The World Health Organization's 2021 report revealed a staggering rise in global anxiety, with millions struggling to find meaning in a world that seems to demand more while giving less. We chase goals, accumulate possessions, and measure success by external markers, yet the satisfaction we seek remains elusive. Alan Watts saw this emptiness not as a personal failing but as a symptom of a deeper problem. A society built on the myth of progress and the relentless pursuit of permanence in an impermanent world. Watts critiqued the modern obsession with goals, pointing out how it traps us in a cycle of perpetual striving. We are taught to believe that happiness lies just beyond the next achievement, the next milestone. But what happens when we reach those goals? We set new ones and the cycle continues, leaving us exhausted and unfulfilled. This endless pursuit, Watts argued, is a form of self-imposed suffering, a refusal to accept the natural flow of life. He contrasted this with the wisdom of impermanence, the understanding that everything, our successes, our failures, even our very lives, is transient. Instead of resisting this truth, Watts invited us to embrace it, to find beauty in the fleeting nature of existence. Materialism, too, came under his scrutiny. We are conditioned to believe that more possessions will bring us happiness, but Watts saw this as a hollow promise. The more we accumulate, the more we burden ourselves, creating a life cluttered with things but devoid of meaning. His solution wasn't to reject material comforts but to see them for what they are, temporary, transient, and ultimately insignificant in the grand scheme of existence. By letting go of the need to control and possess, we open ourselves to the richness of the present moment. The emptiness of modern life, Watts suggested, isn't a void to be filled but a space to be explored, a reminder that true fulfillment comes not from what we have but from how we choose to be. In embracing impermanence, we find freedom, not from life's challenges, but from the illusion that we must conquer them to be whole. We spend our lives chasing perfection, striving for enlightenment, and searching for meaning as if it's something we must earn or achieve. But what if the very act of seeking is what keeps us from finding? Alan Watts offered a radical conclusion. Enlightenment isn't something to be attained, it's something to be recognized. It's not a distant goal but a present reality, hidden in plain sight. To illustrate this, he used a simple yet profound metaphor, trying to bite your own teeth. You can't do it, not because your teeth are out of reach, but because they are already part of you. In the same way, the peace, joy, and fulfillment we seek are not external treasures to be hunted down, but intrinsic qualities of our being, waiting to be acknowledged. This realization is what Watts called the goosebump moment, the instant when you see that your life, exactly as it is already perfect. It's not about fixing or improving yourself. It's about waking up to the truth that you are already whole. The problem isn't that something is missing, it's that we're looking in the wrong direction. We're so focused on the future, on what we think we need to become, that we overlook the beauty of what we already are. What's message is a call to stop striving and start seeing, to let go of the endless pursuit and simply be. But how do we live this truth in our daily lives? Watts offered a practical insight through what he called the backwards law. Instead of trying to force happiness or peace, we can find them by letting go of the effort. When we stop trying to control our thoughts, emotions, and experiences, we create space for them to flow naturally. This isn't about passivity, but about presence, about being fully engaged with the here and now, without judgment or resistance. The more we practice this mindfulness, the more we realize that the perfection we've been seeking has been with us all along, not as something to achieve, but as something to remember. In that remembering, we find not just peace, but a profound sense of belonging to ourselves, to each other, and to the universe itself. Every day we wake up, go through the motions, and fall back into bed, only to repeat the cycle again. We call this living, but is it really? Or are we sleepwalking through existence, caught in a loop of routines, obligations, and distractions? The fear of missing out isn't just about skipping a party or a trend. It's about missing the very essence of life itself. Alan Watts saw this as the greatest tragedy. A life spent chasing shadows while the real treasure slips through our fingers. He didn't just want us to live. He wanted us to be, to break free from the autopilot of modern existence and truly awaken to the miracle of the present moment. Watts' teachings are a call to action, a reminder that we have a choice. We can continue to drift through life, numbed by the noise of the world, or we can choose to wake up. This isn't about making grand gestures or abandoning responsibilities. It's about shifting our perspective. It's about seeing the ordinary as extraordinary, the mundane as magical. When we apply Watts' insights, we begin to notice the beauty in the small things, the way sunlight filters through the trees, the sound of laughter, the rhythm of our own breath. These moments, often overlooked, are where life truly happens. The real secret, as Watts put it, is to be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now. This isn't a passive state, but an active one, a deep immersion in the flow of existence. It's about letting go of the need to control, to achieve, to prove, and instead embracing the simple act of being. The choice is yours. Will you keep sleepwalking, or will you wake up? The answer lies not in some distant future, but in the way you choose to live this very moment. As Watts' voice echoes in your mind, remember, this is it. This is life, unfolding in all its messy, glorious perfection. Don't miss it. If this video resonated with you, give it a like and drop a comment below with one word that captures what stood out to you most, whether it's awakening, impermanence, connection, or something else entirely. Let me and others know you've made it to the end, and let's keep this conversation alive. Your thoughts matter, and together, we can inspire each other to live more fully, more mindfully, and more authentically. Thanks for watching, and remember, this moment is all there is. Don't let it slip away.